Happy New Year, baby! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages, Geeks Worldwide Radio and the Dork Shared Gooniverse proudly present to you. And when I say the greatest, Nicholas, I mean the absolute greatest podcasting team in the world. I'm Professor Doc. He's Mag Nico. I can't remember how you put that.
Nicholas.
Nicholas. We are the TLDR Comic Book Club, baby. Nicholas. How's it going?
I was doing good already. I'll tell you what, I was not expecting you to be shouting into the microphone to start the show.
My equilibrium's all off, baby.
Oh, well, I'm happy about it either way because of what you said afterwards. I mean, suck it, Billy D. That's all I have to say after that intro. But I'm doing great. You know, it's been a little bit since we've convened. It's been like, we haven't talked to you since last year, really. But we did get to hang.
Come on, Nicholas.
I couldn't help it. I'm not a dad yet, but someday I think I will be. So got to get ready for it at some point.
Yeah, but you nailed that one.
But I'll tell you what, speaking of last year, of course, we did our annual last week. Make sure you guys go check that out if you haven't already. Had a great time talking about our favorite books from the year, the best creators from the year, the best books that one another recommended throughout the course of the year, even though we only got to do like 14 when we originally thought we were going to be doing 52 books a year. But anyways, speaking of the number 52, Joe, we talked about how you keep track of how many books you're reading throughout the course of the year. Last year, you started a little bit later than you did the previous year. I think you cut yourself short about 2.5 months, maybe a little bit more than that. But we set the over-under, I believe, at 750 after we convened around November, maybe October. Did you get over the number?
752, baby.
Nice. Look at that.
I caught up. I did some last minute reading of some trades, which got me over the hump, which is a great segue into catching up. So part of what got me there was I read the first volume of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TMNT. That first volume,
yeah,
awesome.
Right?
Awesome.
But you see how that's a book like where it's like, it's not really it's like a TLDR worthy book in terms of quality, but it's like in terms of talking about the event.
Yeah, that book is fun as hell. That's a book you can recommend to anyone. Power Rangers fans, Ninja Turtle fans, comic book. It was just a fun book. And it was a good story, right? We know Ryan Parrott, he's a great writer. And he's got a good grasp of this stuff, right? So that was fun, which led me to read the first issue of the second arc, which was excellent. That's Ryan Parrott with Dan Mora on the art. So that was a lot of fun. I read Fables Volume 2, which again was excellent, but the timing was a little. I had no idea what the second volume of Fables Volume 2 was going to be about. And it was very Orwellian, if you will, very Animal Farm-esque, with the setting of the story taking place on an actual animal farm where the non-human fables are forced to live because they can't blend into society like their human counterparts. But I followed that up by reading Animal Castle.
Well,
which was essentially the same story.
How about that? But there's an even better component to this, to your reading experience of Animal Castle that you need to share with the people.
Right. So you brought me the individual floppies for this, and which I'm very thankful for. I appreciate it. I was in a reading mood. It was at the end of the day, so it's like, I'll just grab my iPad because I was laying in bed. So I can't really read, floppies in bed. I want to try and keep, the word floppy out of the bedroom as much as possible.
Well, yeah, I can't say I blame you.
So,
in all fairness.
So anyways, I'm on the iPad, so I'm reading it. I'm sort of reading the omnibus version, and so a lot of times when you read trades, whether it's physical form or it's digital, it's still broken up by each book, right? For some reason, right, Ablaze, when they put this out, they decided they were just going to do it in 2 chapters. So I'm reading this thing, I'm like 75, 80 pages in, and I'm going, that was a long fucking first book, man. And so it kind of took me out of it because I texted you, I go, I'm enjoying Animal Castle so far, but it's got a bit of a pacing problem. I've had like 3 fucking cracks at this thing, and I'm like, and you're like, what the hell? And then you're like, well, why? Are you kidding me? Like, I'm like, well, let me take a look. And so I'm looking at it, I'm going, oh, well, that's because I've just read three books in a row without any break.
Yeah.
And this is one of those books where I think you need that little break to know, like, boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, because
Yes.
the payoff, there's a couple of payoffs in there, but the real, when you get to the end of it, you look back and you go, fuck, that was really good. But it does need those little segments in there to help break it up just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, Nicholas, there better be a second fucking volume of this thing,
I agree.
right? Because the story's not done.
No, it's not. It left
It's not done. It's a very Sopranos-esque ending here, right? Where you're like, that's where you're seriously gonna fucking end it.
Yeah.
Whoa, I'm not happy about that.
Yeah, it was well that for just in general, like whenever you're hearing a story, like especially a lengthy story, you need chapters. So to find out that you're not getting like told when the end of each chapter was as you're reading this, like, well, yeah, of course it's going to mess you up, because the end of the first issue is like a great like a wild moment to like just stop everything.
Yes.
It's like,
yes. And so when you're reading it in the way that Ablaze presented it, it's just a moment. Right.
yeah,
When it's
that's
the
crazy.
ending of something, like when you're reading the floppies and you end that first book on that note, you go, fuck.
Yeah.
Yes. Boom. And then you get to the second. I think it would have been a much faster read, right? And the pacing would have been
Sure.
right
Yeah.
had I read the floppies versus trying to read it all at once.
Yeah. I tend to
Because
agree.
you needed those little breaks just to sort of like give your brain just that quick little reset to gear up for what's coming next, because there are large parts of it where there's not a lot of action.
Sure.
And
Yep.
we don't always need action, but sometimes when you're reading something, you at least need some breaks, like know when there's breaks coming.
100%.
Um,
Could
but
not agree more. Like, it's just
but
like put chapters in your books. It's
yeah,
not hard.
yeah, right. So, but it was excellent. I appreciate you handing me the floppies, even though I ignored them.
I want those back.
You're gonna get them back.
That's Lauren's favorite comic. Like, she absolutely loved it. She crushed that.
I mean, it's great.
She
We got to
loved
introduce
it.
her to some more comics, though.
Well, I know it's animals. That's why. Like, it's
Oh.
animals. It's like gritty.
You should give her stray dogs.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay.
Anywho. So, anyways, that's what I caught up on. 752 books was way short of where I wanted to be last year. My New Year's resolution for 2023, Nicholas, 1K.
Okay, start keeping track now.
I'm already at 16.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Jeez, you know what? I haven't. I actually was thinking about doing this too, like keeping track just to see what I do. But I haven't written down anything. So what New Year's was Sunday. I should be able to figure that out. I should be able to do that. But also, looking back at 2020, mentioning the annual off the top too, I forgot to mention. For those of you who haven't already subscribed to our audio channel, make sure you guys go and do that. Apple, Stitcher, Spotify. You never know when we have stuff cooking in the background. We don't tell you guys whenever we have a Friar Side chat coming until it has been recorded, because we don't want to jinx things. Joe and I have learned that lesson too often. So you never know when it's going to come. And the only way you're going to get a Friar Side chat is if you're subscribed to one of our audio channels. Those are not available in video/stream form. So make sure you go subscribe there. And if you like the show a lot, leave a 5-star rating and review, please. Only 5 stars. Otherwise, you're going to find out the meaning of Backracker for real. Speaking of catching up, though, I have read all of Sync now. I am in the middle of Dig, but Sync is so good. Like, it's definitely a top 10 horror comic for me. And it fits somewhere in, like, when we talk about like all-time comic book lists. I absolutely love this story. It is such a fast read, obviously very violent. I just couldn't stop. Like, I would have already finished Dig, which was the Kickstarter book that they did. It's also available on Comixology, and I'm sure elsewhere, but like maybe Amazon. But it was just so, like, it's so good. If it wasn't for the fact that I had to read other stuff for this week, that would have been like, I would have been done with that already completely. So first volume was great. Second volume, I don't know if I'd say it's even better. It's probably on the same level of greatness, in all honesty. But really, and when you talked about this on the show not too long ago, Joe, you said like you read it on Comixology, but you think you're going to buy the first volume to have it at home. I think I'm in that same ballpark as you. It's too good, man.
Yeah, let's take a moment to dive into this because I think we should. So and that's another thing I forgot to put on catching up is that I also read Sync Volume 2, but that was technically that helped get me up there as well. I mean, I read this in an hour, the entire fucking volume in an hour. I couldn't put it down, and it was one of the most fucked up things I've ever read, and one of the most fucked up things I've ever seen in my life. It was so good. The contrast between Sync Volume 1 and Sync Volume 2, I think, was wild in and of itself. Where Sync Volume 2, we get a 2-part story, which was excellent. Oh man, that was the meat and the potatoes of Volume 2, and it focused, primarily around the character Dig, and just the shit that he had to do to get his family. But that 2-story arc within that volume was fucking ferocious,
Phenomenal.
right? But I think the issue that really fucking like what the fuck was the last issue, which I had a little back and forth with John Lees on about Twitter, and he said that was his favorite issue to write. And I go, Jesus Christ. Well, I mean, I could see where it was kind of fun because it was so fucked up, but like you got this, it revolves around. I'm stuttering because I'm so fucking,
Yep.
confluid by it, but like, it's sort of this modern day love story of two people who are, divorced in bad marriages, and they're finding each other through a Tinder type app, and they've got this weird sex fetish, and then the shit that happens, from that point on. I should call it weird sex fetish, just some submissive dominator stuff, whatever. But like
Yeah, dominatrix stuff. Yep.
the weaponry that is used,
Yep.
and the way that Alex Cormack drew it, both made me fucking laugh and like have to read it like this, like huddled, so like my wife or daughter, wouldn't walk by
You
and
know
see me.
what? That might have happened with me too, and I'm not really ashamed of like Lauren seeing me like whatever I'm reading, but I think I was reading some of that and I was like, oh god.
Yeah, but you also don't have a 5-year-old walking around
Yes, no,
your
I
house
understand that.
either, right?
Yeah.
And so like, but I flew through it. It was so good. And so like Sync Volume 1, right? You had 5 individual stories that sort of like, loosely connected each other, right? And you almost had the same thing here where we had that little arc. But what I love about Sync is that the sinkhole itself is the main character, the world in which these characters sort of inhabit. And it was so twisted. And Dig, I happened to finish Dig. Excellent. It was a one shot, and I think I read somewhere they are planning a volume 3. So
I saw something about that too. I mean, it's outstanding. And look, like in obviously what he did on Hotel was great. And as we've learned, like we get why like Axel Alonso saw Sync. I was like, okay, like John Lee's, we're gonna do something like that with you, do Hotel and everything. Um, I love Hotel. Hotel is outstanding. I think I like Sync more, quite honestly. It's not, it doesn't matter. I think if you like one, you're gonna like the other in the end. But the the level of violence that we get here, like I feel like Hotel is obviously very violent too. That has more, I think, a greater eeriness to it. This has more gore to it.
horror is horror.
Jeez. Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to say Hotel and Gore. Hotel is definitely more macabre. It's definitely more of your scary stories to tell in the dark, more of your sort of
And there's plenty
crypt,
of
crypt
jarring imagery.
right, crypt keeper type storytelling, right? Whereas Sync is just a flat out vicious, no holds barred, way of storytelling, right? Like I said, the
Mm.
main character is, Sinkhole itself and all the
Kills.
depravity and violence that happens within it. Whereas Hotel, like again, it's definitely more of that supernatural kind of horror to it. Which is a great contrast to each other. But I mean, I got a feeling we're going to be seeing more of John Lee's, and we need to see more of Alex Cormack because there's the
Yeah.
storytelling and the art for both those guys is just it's outstanding.
Just to put a bow on it, you talked about issues 8 through 10 in Sync Volume 2. The end of the seventh one, That's the issue where you're focusing on one of the these are of course John's words, one of the dickheads.
Yeah,
Yeah, the end of that is just like, oh man, like perfect, totally
yeah,
makes sense. But it was also like, and it's he does a great job. You talked about this again when you did your whole episode on it, where it's like they plant. John does a great job of planting seeds and like connecting the world, but also not like, it doesn't like surprising you in the way that he does it. And then the first issue of Sync Volume 2
yeah.
connects back to the last issue of Sync Volume 1. And again, talk about like the violence and the action. That's a lot of the clown stuff there. And these clowns, man,
The
they
fucking clown nose. They're oh Jesus Christ. That borderline made me want to vomit.
it's so
To be
it's
honest with you.
oh yeah, yeah,
It was
I don't.
that vicious.
It's so good. It is so good. But like definitely like you like don't buy this one for your kids or your
Yeah,
nephews. Like
no, yeah,
if they steal it from you, that's one thing. But don't encourage the reading, I guess is what I would say. But but yeah, it's so good. I
yeah.
absolutely loved it. So yeah, awesome stuff there. Let's get into our solicit and start talking about the books that are hitting shelves this week, Joe. What's new from Marvel?
Okay, so this week from Marvel. I'm still trying to fucking get over
Either way.
whatever goddamn illness I have here.
Mm,
So we have the Avengers issue 64, X-Force 36, X-Men Red issue 10, Spider-Man issue 4, Star Wars issue 30, Fantastic Four issue 3, Captain Marvel issue 45, Marauders issue 10, Captain America Sentinel of Liberty issue 8, God Goblin issue 3, Secret Invasion issue 3, Planet Hulk Worldbreaker issue 3, X-Men Legends issue 5, Ultraman The Mystery of the Ultra 7 issue 5, and then we have a few number ones here. We have Joe Fixit issue 1 written by Peter David with art by Yildirim Sinar, and this is a sort of a bizarro Hulk tale. It looks like where Hulk is like he was working for the mob or something. I don't know.
yes, Joe Fixit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Joe Fixit. So
Mm.
yeah,
It's
that's
probably a
on
good
me.
thing on your end. You probably means you haven't gotten in too much trouble.
Right. And then Shang-Chi, Master of the 10 Rings, issue 1, written by Gene Luen Yang. I've talked about his first arc way back when on the show. This is his third and final arc with the character.
Mm,
I'm halfway through the issue so far. It's been great. I mean, I've enjoyed his Shang-Chi stuff very much. Looks
nice.
like he's moving over to DC and doing some DC stuff, which we might see
Ooh.
later on. But you have a number one that you want to dive into real quick.
Yeah, so Scarlet Witch issue 1 jumps to my attention right away because I do like Scarlet Witch, and actually Lauren that's probably her favorite character in the MCU, so I want to give that one a look because maybe it's something that she'd want to check out. Steve Orlando and Sarah Pacelli are the creative team on this, and I'll tell you what, from Pacelli's standpoint, outstanding work, like very very clean line work throughout all this. The colors, mixed in through all this too. Matthew Wilson is the color artist here, and I thought the artwork was outstanding. Marvel kind of, I mean, you see different artists mixed in at Marvel. Of course, there's plenty of different artists mixed in, but there is like a style that I expect when it comes to Marvel. Maybe it's more from a color standpoint than a line art standpoint, but the color sometimes can make me think that it's the line art that I'm thinking about. But anyways, very clean, but also we see a lot of like you look at the first page actually, and there's like a ton of like mystic stuff going on. One is like putting together this place, and that's also a little chaotic, but it's still really well done. From a story standpoint, the ending was like definitely was that thing that Sean Lewis talked to us about a while back, where you get that propulsion into next month, where it's like, okay, I got to come back and give this a look. I think from a dialogue standpoint, everything was good. I think from a story standpoint, it seemed like it was kind of just an introduction as to what Wanda is going to be doing. Nothing crazy, nothing earth shattering necessarily. Just kind of explaining where she's at in life, what her goals are, what her focus is, what the focus of this series is going to be. So it's like it's just solid. I don't know if I don't know if this is for like younger adult readers, because I could see where that would be the case, but at the same time, like that's the target audience. I mean, like it might be the target audience. But either way, I thought it was solid. I think that if you see the last page, you're going to want to end up looking at giving this a second look, or giving the second issue a look. I'm planning to do that. But yeah, all around, it was solid, I would say, for a first issue.
Nice, awesome. Yeah, I thought about I thought about giving this a look as well. I just didn't get to it, but you called it early, so I'm gonna let you take that one.
I will say too, if you know like a young lady who's like who likes to read comics or is like was considering or has some level of interest in that, I would say give them this first issue. I think it's definitely a safe one to give them. So I would say hand this to them and see if they take to it, and who knows from there. But
Nice.
anyways, let's move over to DC. You and I got a couple books that we want to break down there. We got Poison Ivy issue 8. Of course, I talked about that on the show a little while back. The Joker, The Man Who Stopped Laughing, issue 4. Gotham City, Year 1, issue 4. Sword of Azrael, issue 6. Batman, Night Watch, issue 5. And then there are 2 books we want to break down. One that we're both reading and one that I'm behind on that you have stayed on top of. Which one do you want to go with first, Joe?
Well, we'll stay with the one that I'm on top of because it's written by my Chip.
Yep,
He will forever be known as my Chip.
Mm.
Batman, issue 131. So this is the start of his second arc with the mainline Batman, and it ended. I mean, the whole failsafe story in that his first arc with Batman was absolutely excellent, but you had no idea where he was going to go with it. And what Chip is doing right now with Batman, he's it's got to be difficult. I mean, whether it's Batman, whether it's Superman, like those are two of some of the biggest, Batman might be the biggest legacy character to take on.
Yeah.
Because of the rule constraints and because of the breadth of stories that have been told, over the decades. So how do you come up with something new and something fresh? And Chip does something very wild here, with starting this second arc of his, and it was absolutely fascinating. The failsafe stuff was great because it gave Batman. It was essentially Batman going against himself. We got to sort of see what that might be like, and it was wild. And you didn't know exactly how he was going to get out of it. And now, where Chip is sort of taking the character. I don't want to call it a bizarro world, but I don't want to say too much either to sort of give it away. But again, if you haven't been Batman is one of those titles too, where if you haven't read the character in a long time, you can pick it up and start reading. Now, picking up in the middle of an arc might be you might have to do a little back reading, but it's like you have to read Batman 100, full. It's like you have to have read James Tynan's run on Batman or Joshua Williams' brief run on Batman or Tom King's run on Batman to know sort of what's going on. If you're able to get your hands, which you should be able to, on the last couple issues of Zdarsky's run on Batman, I think issue 124 or 125, whatever it might be, start from there, right? Perfect, great, because you kind of want to know like just sort of where Batman is currently in Chip Zdarsky's world. But again, it's not like you got to read volumes and volumes of Batman to know what the hell's going on. So
you're saying good. You want to know where Batman begins?
You're on a fucking roll today.
I don't know what's going on.
Did you knock Lauren up before the wedding?
No.
No.
God, no.
Your dad jokes are on point.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that evil on me.
Being a father is there's nothing evil about being a father, Nicholas. It's a wonderful thing.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, Zdarsky's killing it with Batman right now. So this is if you're a Batman fan and you haven't been reading mainline Batman for a while, this is a great place. Zdarsky's run is a good place to start because it's not too far into it.
And if you're just a DC fan in general, a great story to start reading, because we do have a few collected editions of this out so far, more condensed collected editions. Dark Knights of Steel. We just got issue 9 this week, of course, by Tom Taylor and Yasmin Putri. Obviously, Tom Taylor's been killing it over there at DC, but in Yasmin Putri, getting to see her do interior artwork, because more familiar with her work as a cover artist, it's been outstanding. And I can see, obviously, the people can't see you who are listening to this in audio form, Joe, but like blown away by the events that transpired in this issue. Maybe more than anything else in the previous 8 issues. We've seen some pretty epic deaths up until this point.
Well, what's been great about this is that, and it's wild. Is this a Black Label book?
You know what? Give me 2 seconds, and I will have an answer for you.
It is not.
It is not.
Right. Oh, wait a second. Hold on.
No, it's not. I'm looking at the cover right now. I have it pulled up.
Nope. Yep. So what's wild about this is that it's not a dark Black Label book, but it reads like one, right? Just because of the setting and what Tom Taylor's been able to do, with it, and the way that he's had fun taking the modern day DC heroes and reimagining them, right, during as Violet would say, Swaggers would say, old time days, right? Dad, you grew up in old time days, is what you told me.
Oh, so she
right. So during the medievals, and so something happens in this issue. Now this is just picking up and starting a new arc here, and something happened in this book, Nicholas, where I should have seen coming, but I didn't, because the character that's introduced never even fucking crossed my mind, and it should have, right? Because it's not like this wildly obscure character, but when it happened, I go, that is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
And it makes me want to go back and reread the series from the start again to see if there's any breadcrumbs that led to this that I missed, because they reference a certain character, but they give you at least two different potential red herrings to fit the description of this character. And then when you finally go, oh fuck, that's brilliant. Yeah. That is absolutely fucking brilliant. And it made so much sense. And it just takes the book now to a new level, takes the story down a path, down a brand new path to keep it fresh. Because you would start, it is a limited series, but you wonder what the shelf life was for something like this. But this sort of gave it new life. And that's not to put it down, because it was excellent before, but you're wondering okay, where is this going to go? And now you're like, oh, fuck.
Sure.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
give it to me, baby.
We're at the precipice of this, big battle, and this major development just happened in the 8th issue, and now it's like, okay, well, where do we go from here? We've got 4 issues left. Obviously, you're going to get a big fight at some point. Very excited for that. But part of with Tom Taylor too is, as much as we're always looking for the action in comics, we also appreciate good writing. And that sometimes that comes with tempo. Sometimes that comes with certain twists and turns, and that's kind of what Tom Taylor's specialty is. He leads you down a path, and it's really good stuff, and then he always knows right where nope, I'm just going to take this thing and twist it here, and then I'm just going to do this thing a little later on and twist it there. And so when you say I don't know how I didn't think of this character, I mean, it's so easy to get lost in this world, and obviously there are so many DC characters and everyone is in play. I'm not saying that character isn't somebody you should have thought of, but in the way that the character has been in hiding this whole time, you never would have thought of. And B, there's so much else going on. I don't blame you for not, maybe just because I didn't think, I would never have thought of this character. Where is it?
That's what's brilliant about it, because Tom Taylor's got you go, hey, look over here, look over here, look over here. And then all of a sudden, poof, you've completely missed what should have been. Really should, because when you think about the character and what the character means in the greater scheme of things, we should have been asking, where is this character? But it's one that the character is prominent enough, but also obscure enough that you don't think about it all the time.
Yes, agreed. And I think what's so important too about the way Taylor is able to do this with everything that he does, because it's not just in Dark Knights of Steel. We obviously see it in Deceased. We see it in Seven Secrets, where there's constantly these twists, and it's just out of fucking nowhere. But at the same time, I know we've heard in other mediums where you go and retcon something or change something or whatever, and it kind of makes certain stories that we've experienced beforehand irrelevant. No, not in these cases. What Tom Taylor does so well is he'll go and tell us a story, and we're experiencing it right along with these characters. So it's all relevant, because now we've been thinking this one thing, the characters are also thinking the same thing, and then boom, it gets flipped on its head. And just like all the other characters here, or at least most of the characters here, were like, what the shit just happened?
Yeah.
And we're all in the same position outside of Tom Taylor and Yasmin Putri, because they're just trying to mind F us as best they
Yeah.
can.
Everyone got okey doked. Even the characters on the page got okey doked. So bravo, Tom. Bravo.
Yeah, it was damn good stuff. Why don't you take us through Image, Joe?
Okay, so from Image, we had Spawn 337, Radiant Pink issue 2, The Magic Order 3 issue 6, Kaya issue 4, Nita Hawes Nightmare Blog issue 11. That's the one Image book I didn't get to this week.
Oh, the end, it's shit's about to go down. I'll tell you
Yeah, I
that.
can't wait. I'm gonna read that before the day's over. And then we have Scott McTiernan's Holiday Bash, written by Jerry Duggan and Brian Potion. And so this is first came the 420 special, then Scott McTiernan's Halloween Party, and now Scott McTiernan's Holiday Bash. So apparently this thing has done pretty well. That's warranted a few different books. So yeah, there's that.
Nice. A little late on the holiday bash there, Scotty, but that's okay. From Skybound, we have The Walking Dead Deluxe issue 54, Stillwater 17. Is this the final issue, Joe?
I believe so. I haven't read it yet because I don't want to give it up just yet. So I'm holding on to it.
Okay. I you know what? I know that feeling entirely. I hate that we experience it, but I also love that we do, because it's just like, what the fuck, man? Like, boom, I'm gonna take us through that real quick, because you have a book you want to break down. Magic the Gathering, issue 22, The Approach, issue 3, which you have called dibs on. Then we got a first issue, Joe, from Rob Gilroy and Sam Lotfi.
Yeah, so Mosley issue 1, as you mentioned, Rob Gilroy and Sam Lofty. And so Rob Gilroy's is written Farmhand, which I've been reading. It will be a TLDR book at some point.
Right.
Mosley is a satirical sci-fi blockbuster perfect for fans of God Country and Ghost Cage.
Ooh.
So
Okay. I meant to read Ghost Cage. I didn't really give it a look, just because where we were at that point in the podcast, didn't have time, because we would possibly could have done an interview for that. But God Country, I've talked about that on the show, and that is,
yeah.
Jeff's kiss. I may or may not have told Johnny Cates too. Remember when I told him about God Country?
Yeah.
God, that was like supposed to.
I wonder why he won't come on the fucking show.
Entirely intended to be a compliment. And I said, so for those who are maybe curious, I said that the movie's not good, the movie's not going to be as good as the comic, like no matter what, because he wrote it. So I'm trying to compliment him on his writing, and obviously my respect for the medium. Comics are my favorite medium. What did he end up sharing with us, Joe?
He wrote the script for the movie,
which is not a slight on him at all when I say that. It's just that your original work is always going to be the best. I'm excited for God Country, the movie, but the comic's always going to be number one for me. And you know what? And I get it, how he could take that in a negative way, because there are so many people out there who want to say, oh, it's not as good as the comic, and mean it in a negative way. It's that's not how I'm looking at it in the slightest. I just respect the medium more than any other. That's all.
Yeah, he just insulted the guy to his face, and I won't come on the show.
Well, at least I said it to his face. That's because then Stegman comes on the show.
You did have the balls to say it to his face. But anyways, in this hyper technological world of the latter 21st century, Mosley is a bitter old janitor on a mission from a higher power to unleash holy hell upon the too big to fail tech gods. So I have read this. It was excellent. It's gonna have. I think it's gonna be a little on the nose with some of its stuff, but there's a great dynamic between father and daughter here, a estranged father and daughter. I'm looking forward to learning more about where that divergence happened between the two of them. And again, it did its job. The end of it, especially with the art, was fucking badass, pulled me in. So I enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to reading it.
So this sounds like maybe a Doc Violet shared reading then. Make sure.
No, it was a little violent. I'm not going to share that.
Little Violet. See, there you go. I was
violent.
Right. Oh, sorry, I misunderstood you there. My apologies. Yeah. Anyways,
so moving on from Dark Horse, we have just two titles. There's a number one, Spy Superb, written by Matt Kint, with art by Christian Ward, and this is quickly described as John Wick meets Wes Anderson in this mystery thriller about a secret organization. that's developed the perfect spy. I was surprised we didn't get this in our folder, so maybe it's not coming out this week.
Yeah, there's a pretty good chance that that's not the case and that something else actually came out this week because you originally didn't list It's Only Teenage Wasteland.
It's on the Teenage Wasteland.
And
Oh,
I read the first issue. I
it's
have
on the
read
Teenage Wasteland.
I have now read the second issue of this, and as I said when I read the first issue, I thought it had potential. I thought it was good, but I need to see the second issue before I can fully commit. But they had definitely given me enough where I was going to give the second issue a look, and I am absolutely in on this series. Really good issue
Love
in
that.
general, but the ending of the second issue was definitely like a you get this, you get something gets introduced, and then it's like you think it's one thing and it's just cool in itself, and then you find out no, there's an extra layer to it, and it's like holy shit. So I think this has been a good start to this series. It's on track to be a TLDR worthy book. Of course, got to see it all the way through. But yeah, I really like It's Only Teenage Wasteland through the first two issues.
I love that when you're sort of like lukewarm on the first issue and then you get to the second. Like it's a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
Because generally, when you're lukewarm on a first issue, you get the second and you're out. And I hate giving up on books, to be honest with you. I don't ever want to.
Oh yeah, I'm with you there.
And so when you're like lukewarm, and then okay, now I mean, because that's kind of how it was with like Vinyl, but that was like kind of for a different reason.
Sure. That was a weird book. I still can't get over that one because you were out and I was like, no, I'm gonna stay on, and then you kept going, and then I stopped.
Yeah,
that was a bizarre experience. But anyways,
anywho,
let's move on to IDW.
So we have Sonic the Hedgehog issue 56, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Armageddon Game The Alliance issue 3. We have Star Trek issue 3 and My Little Pony issue 8. Nicholas, I want you to read this full title here from AWA.
Okay. Joe Calls Dibs, Trojan issue 1. That is an odd title, but I guess you know what, AWA does like you a lot, so that would make sense.
Yeah, dibs. So I did this before even reading it. I'm just going to call fucking dibs on this because I mean it's going to be fantastic. So first book of 2023 from AWA Studios is a fucking rocket ship. So it's written by Daniel Kraus with art by Marco and Lacey Lesko.
Oh man.
And so I mean we've talked about these two time and time again. Like this is now Daniel Kraus' second book with AWA. I loved him. I loved him on Autumnal. Right, and that was
so good.
That was Vault, and now like I think AW said we want him. We're gonna keep him now, and so Year Zero, Volume 0 has been excellent. This was excellent. We talked about Marco Lesko and his art and his coloring and everything, and
dynamic.
Lacey Lesko, I'm assuming, is his partner. They do a killer job. What I love about Marco Lesko is that. Whatever style, whatever the style of or genre of story, he's able to draw and color in a way that fits it absolutely perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And so once upon a time, we lived alongside legends, creatures of myth, centaurs, fauns, gorgons, kelpies, gnomes, and more. They were spectacular, majestic, powerful, peaceful, pure. In comparison, we were ugly, weak, warmongering, rotten. Is it any wonder we could not live alongside them any longer? After driving these legends into the fringes of society, an uglier form of mythos takes shape in the form of rumors of live snuff shows for dark web high rollers. When a mysterious young woman, Nessa, enlists the help of a hacker to take the tour of the grisliest corners of the dark web, she sets in motion a war between those who peddle mankind's darkest fantasies in a world that transcends imagination. Trojan is a fantasy thriller full of wonder and horrific in equal measure. So that was a very long synopsis, and usually my theory is the longer the synopsis, the worse the book will be. Not the case here. This first issue was excellent, and when you get that sort of jaw-dropping reveal at the end of the first issue, again, boom, hook, line, and sinker. I am fucking in, and it's dark, man. It's twisted. It's not hit me dark and twisted yet, but could be.
Yeah. Well, yeah, That is a different level. That is a totally different street to go down, I guess, or a path to go down. But I'll tell you what, I remember seeing this and not even knowing that Marco Lesko was in on it, and not fully processing Daniel Krause in previous work. I looked at this and it was like, oh, this seems very interesting. And I'm generally hesitant to call dibs on AWA because I know how you feel about them, and I haven't done that yet, but may have to do it because this is one I was definitely interested in for sure. But
Yeah, I already
okay,
called dibs, so you can't.
no, thank you for you lecturing me on how the rules work.
But I sent you a picture, right?
Mm,
I sent you. I
you
was like,
did.
oh
Oh, it
fucking
looks
a,
good.
yeah. And so like, I love the idea of them tackling the dark web and hackers and it being a sci-fi fantasy story at the same time, and having all those elements in there. So this was an excellent first issue.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little jealous. Let's go through these real quickly so we can get into some of the later weeks of our solicit. So we got from Ablaze this week. It was just one issue we wanted to highlight: "Children of the Black Sun" by Darius Chio and Letizia Cadancini. That one actually looks pretty interesting. I have to give that one a look. And then "Purgatory Must Die" issue 1 from Dynamite, written by Ray Fox and Alvaro Saraseca. Yeah,
On the
believe I
art. Yep.
got that one right. Let's move into the week of the 11th, so the second week of January. Joe, take us through Marvel as you do, please.
Okay, so we have the Amazing Spider-Man issue 17, Moon Knight issue 19, Daredevil issue 7, X-Men issue 18, Wolverine issue 29, I believe actually, or 28, but I lose 29.
Mhm.
Darth Vader issue 30, Ghost Rider issue 10. What a fucking week for Marvel. Carnage issue 9, Legion of X issue 9, Miles Morales Spider-Man issue 2, Predator issue 6, Black Panther issue 13, Mary Jane and Black Cat issue 2, Captain America Symbol of Truth issue 9, Star Wars The High Republic issue 4, Savage Avengers issue 9. Speaking of Dark Web, we have Dark Web Miss Marvel issue 2, Monica Rambeau Photon issue 2, Star Wars The Mandalorian written by friend of the show Rodney Barnes issue 7, Tiger Division issue 3, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur issue 2, and we have the Avengers War Across Time issue 1 written by Paul Levitz with art by Alan Davis.
One thing I do want to say real quick on Marvel, with when it comes to Rodney Barnes, The Mandalorian, the covers on that alone have been worth buying that series. So if you're
Oh,
just someone
hands
who
down,
enjoys the
hands down.
covers, it's some kick ass shit over there. Let's move over to DC though. We got the Flash 790, Wonder Woman 795, Batman Urban Legends. It's definitely not issue 10. I think it's like 23 this month.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Well, because the Human Target you have jotted down as issue 10.
Yeah.
So that could be why. Batman and Joker, the Deadly Duo, that is the Mark Silvestri
Oh,
series.
issue 19.
Issue 19.
Right.
There we
Makes
go.
sense. Right.
For Urban Legends. Deadly Duo, though, issue 3. I am Batman 17.
You
You
are
are
Batman?
Batman 17. We are Batman 17. And actually, I think they're starting They Are Batman this month with issue 1. Then we got Danger Street issue 2, Batman Incorporated issue 4, Wildcats issue 3, Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries issue 4, Looney Tunes 270. And for first issues, we got Lazarus Planet Alpha issue 1 by Mark Wade. And as you mentioned, Jean Luen Yang is on this one. This is a one shot, and Billy Tan is the artist here. Then we got Batman The Animated Adventures Continues, season 3 by Paul Dini and Alan Burnett.
All right. So from Image, yeah, Gunslinger Spawn issue 16, Little Monsters issue 9, 10,000 Black Feathers issue 5, Bloodstained Teeth issue 8, Time Before Time issue 19, The Dead Lucky issue 5, All Against All issue 2, Two Graves issue 3, Hexware issue 2, The Least We Can Do issue 5, Gospel number 3, and then we have a couple of number ones here. We have Black Cloak issue 1 written by Eisner Award winning writer Kelly Thompson with art by Meredith McLaren. And then we have two other number ones here, Nicholas, that you'd like to discuss.
Yeah. Oh man. So we got Spawn Unwanted Violence issue 1 written by Todd McFarlane with art by Michael Del Mondo. This is a 2-issue miniseries. It looks like the Freak is going to be at the center of all this. I mean, if it's Spawn, I'm going to give it a look in general. So I'm excited for that. Spawn Unwanted Violence issue 1 again should be it looks like it's a 2-issue miniseries. But the one I'm really excited for, Joe, even more so, is Nemesis Reloaded issue 1 by Mark Millar and Jorge Jimenez.
Oh.
We've said it before. Mark Millar is the writer that I've spoken about most when we're talking about mainline issues, and I will talk about Nemesis on here at some point in the near future. Maybe it'll be before this first issue comes out. Maybe it will be a little shortly after. But either way, this is an awesome series. Just a synopsis, maybe to help out some of those who haven't read the series yet. The world's most evil comic book is back. Who is Nemesis, and why does this eccentric billionaire who dresses up in a mask and cape want to terrorize people instead of helping them? Isn't that how it's supposed to go? Trigger warning: too violent and too cool for some. I actually only just recently read Nemesis, which I believe is available on Hoopla, because I knew this series was coming out, and obviously Jorge Jimenez is a very talented artist, and Millar, nothing more needs to be said other than his name. And I crushed this thing. Just 4 issues, awesome stuff. Very excited to see what he has planned for this next arc. Hate that I'm going to have to read it month to month, but such is life. From Skybound, on the week of the 11th, we have Dark Ride issue 4. Take us through Boom, please, Joe.
All right, so we have Something is Killing the Children, issue 28, Grimm, issue 7, Specs, issue 3, and Know Your Station, issue 2. I haven't read Know Your Station number 1 yet, but those first 3, holy smokes, baby, they're absolutely killer.
Nice.
From Dark Horse, we have Star Wars: The High Republic Adventures, issue 2, Masquerade, issue 4, The Ones, issue 3, and Assassin's Apprentice, issue 2.
I remember seeing that one and thinking it's something I wanted to check out. Maybe I will have to give the first issue of Assassin's Apprentice a look. But from IDW, we got My Little Pony Classics Reimagined Little Fillies issue 3. So you're welcome, Mac. You asked for it, you got it. TMNT Armageddon Game issue 4. From Vault, we got Mindset issue 6, End After End issue 5, Nightfall double feature issue 2. I'm just going to take us through the rest of the way, Joe, because you got Marvel coming up in a sec. Titan, we got Bloodborne, The Lady of the Lanterns, issue 4. Have you given this one a look at this title at all?
No, I put it. I made sure to include it there because it's I know people enjoy the video game. I do not.
Oh, it's a
But
video
yeah.
game. Okay, didn't know that. Okay, Blade Runner 2039 issue 2. From Ablaze, we got Far Cry Esperanza's Tears issue 4, and then from Dynamite we got Red Sonja, Hell Sonja issue 2, and Cherish issue 3, written by friend of the show Katana Collins.
All right. So from Marvel for the week of 1/18/2023, Nicholas,
So
we have Venom. I know, right? Venom issue 15, Hulk issue 11, which I believe Donny Cates is no longer writing. I can't remember who the writer that's taking over for him.
That's not ideal, but
yeah.
but
Yeah. So Hulk issue 11, we have Immortal X-Men issue 10.
I got to talk about this title on here. I got to do a little catching up because there's a certain event that's important with all this stuff, and I've enjoyed this title.
No, okay, there you go. Punisher issue 9, Deadpool issue 3, Star Wars Bounty Hunters issue 30, Dark Web issue 3, Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man issue 4, Avengers issue 13, Han Solo and Chewbacca issue 9, Alien issue 5, Invincible Iron Man issue 2, Spider-Man The Lost Hunt issue 3, Peter Parker and Miles Morales issue 3, Wakanda issue 4, and Namor Conquered Shores issue 4. And then we have a couple of number 1s here that I'll rattle off real quickly. We have Wasp issue 1, written by Al Ewing with art by Cassia Nye. We have Avengers 2, Wonder Woman and Beast Marvel Tales issue 1, written by Roger Stern and art by Mark Bailey. And that is it for Marvel.
Wonder Man. Just
Wonder
to be
Man?
clear, yes. They didn't just slip in a DC versus Marvel crossover out of nowhere. And could you imagine that? Hey, we're gonna do a DC Marvel crossover. We're not gonna announce it, and it's going to be Wonder Woman, which and Beast. That's the pitch. Who signed off on that?
Hey, like you could do a Beauty and the Beast retelling with those two.
Oh, wow. Look at
Right?
you. See, you find reasons why we can't do something always, Joe. Look at that. Let's see. From DC on the week of the 18th, we got Nightwing 100. Huge issue. Cannot wait to see
Yes.
what Taylor and Redondo have planned for us. The Flash 791. I'm hesitant on trusting that because I think 790 comes out the week before or something. But anyways, Batman, Superman, World's Finest, issue 11. Black Adam 7. Batgirls 17. The New Champions of Shazam issue 4. Batman Fortress issue 8. Fables 157, which Joe is chipping away at, and you're so close to 157, of course.
I'm getting there. Slowly but surely.
GCPD Blue Wall issue 4. Harley Quinn, the animated series, Legion of Bats, issue 4. And then again, a couple of first issues. We got Batman, One Bad Day, Bane, issue 1 by Josh Williamson and Howard Porter, which I believe they worked together on some Deathstroke Inc. stuff, some of the early stuff, which is what I really liked from that title. Outside of what we got at the tail end, year 1, which I did talk about on the show at length. Then we got Lazarus Planet, Assault on Krypton issue 1, which we got various writers and artists on that title mixed in. It's like 5 or 3, somewhere in that range a piece. But yeah, that's it for DC from the week of the 18th.
All right, from Image, the week of the 18th, we have The Scorched, issue 14. I Hate Fairyland, issue 3. What's the Furthest Place from Here, issue 10. Nightclub, issue 2. Old Dog, issue 3. Yes.
Nice.
Art
Waiting
Brute,
on that.
issue 2. Nita Hawes, issue 12. American Jesus, Revelation, issue 3. Shirtless Bear Fighter 2. The Dr. Joe. Ron Burgundy.
I got you. I knew you were going to do it. Shirtless Bear Fighter, Volume 2, the Dr. Joe story, issue 6.
Facts. 3 Keys, issue 4. And then we have a number 1, Immortal Sergeant number 1, written by Joe Kelly with art by Ken Nomura. And then from Skybound, we have Chrome issue 3 and the Walking Dead Deluxe number 55.
It's actually Chroma. That's my fault. I made a typo on that one. I
You
apologize.
dumbass.
I'm the dumbass here.
I read it how it was spelled, genius.
The Walking Deluxe issue.
Well, that happens. That's going to happen.
Anyways, boom, House of Slaughter, issue 11, which, by the way, I bought the Book of Slaughter, issue 1, and that the Dan Mora cover. It's so sick, man. It looks so good. I gotta catch up on Something Is Killing the Children so I can go and read that one as well. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, issue 104. The Vampire Slayer, issue 10. Eve, Children of the Moon, issue 4. And there is a first issue coming out from Boom, Joe, which obviously we all know the rule, but in particular, this one I feel like you have a little bit of an extra interest in.
Well, so this is Dune, House of Harkonnen, issue 1, written by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson with art by Michael Shelfer. So I've enjoyed every book that I've read from Boom in regards to Dune. Now, Brian Herbert is the son of the author that wrote Dune way back when, and he's got a really good, he's a writer, prose in and of himself. And so, he knows his dad's material very well, and why shouldn't he? And it's translated to comic books very well. So I've read House of Atreides, which is great. And so this is House of Harkonnen. So I'm very much looking forward to this. I think any person who is a fan of Dune in that world should be reading the comics regarding that from Boom Studios, because they've all been excellent. There's been a few one-shots in there that have been a little bit longer, that have fit in really well, and I just think these are great companion pieces to that world, to the movie that came out. So I haven't read this yet, but I'm looking forward to it, and I can't recommend the past stuff from Dune. I think I talked about House of Atreides
You did
on the show, so I can't recommend that stuff enough.
Yeah, and look, I haven't read the Dune books, and so this is like one, again, if a freebie for you to take. You don't even need to call dibs, because like I'm so far behind that I can't possibly read this, but I'm sure there are plenty of people who are going to want to know that are Dune fans. Like, there's more Dune stuff out there. Should I be giving this a look? So I'm curious if that ends up holding up like House of Atreides, did for you. We got Dark Horse Resident Alien, The Book of Love, issue 3, Gru, Gods Against Gru, issue 2. White Savior issue 1 is the only first issue coming out from Dark Horse that we can actually forgot to jot down who the writer and artist of that one was. I am interested in giving this one a look. Yeah, I know. You know what, Joe? I'm sorry. Anyways, the Sonic the Hedgehog Scrapnik Island issue 4, didn't miss any of that. TMNT 136, these are all from IDW, of course. Star Trek Resurgence issue 3, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Illyrian Enigma issue 2. Did I get that right? You think Illyrian?
Yeah, sounds right.
Okay. From AWA, we're getting the Absolution trade coming out this week. So that's that was a 5-issue series, right, Joe? Did you say I fell behind on that one. But it was definitely promising. I'm going to finish that one.
Yeah, I got to finish it too.
Okay.
It fell behind, but it was an excellent start.
Then from Vault, we got Giga issue 5, and then the book that I'm looking forward to most probably this week it comes from Vault, Barbaric, Hell to Pay, issue 1. Same creative team, Michael Morisi and Nathan Gooden, and this is they're expanding on this title and this world even more at Vault throughout the year. But it looks like they're going to continue to be doing these like 3-issue miniseries with 3-issue arcs, I should say, and it's been really awesome. Really enjoying it. I talked about Barbaric at length. I think the first and second arc on the show a little while back. Barbaric is back and headed straight to hell in an all-new arc. So big and bloody, it's getting an extra issue. Whoa, look at that. So we're getting our 4th issue. While Owen tames a dragon with an old friend, Soren and Steel cross paths with someone else from our cursed barbarian's past, who isn't looking nearly as friendly. Hell hath no fury like a woman stabbed through the heart by an ugly effing orc. Oh, wait, who's carrying axe? I mean, it's if you like the medieval kind of stuff and high fantasy stuff, this is great. Like, you're gonna have fun with it. It's ridiculous. Axe is my favorite character in this, but you got like everybody else is interesting as well. Highly recommend you guys giving this look, and I will be right on top of Hell to Pay when the first issue comes out.
All right, so this is a weird month because there's usually a lot more of the smaller publishers putting out books, and not a lot of them are putting books out this month. But from a new publisher that we're going to start highlighting, because again, Animal Castle's great, but they do put out, again, not a ton of volume, but stuff they've put out is been of damn good quality. So Ablaze, we have Lovecraft Unknown Kadith issue 5. Dynamite, we have 007 issue 6, Gargoyles issue 2, Unbreakable Red Sonja issue 3, and Vampirilla Strikes issue 9. And then from Comixology, we have Retroverse issue 2. I did download the first issue because it did look interesting. I do want to read it. And then Census issue 5. And then from Artists Elite, we have Artist Elite Presents issue 6. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Nicholas, but is this all they've done so far? Are these Artist Elite Presents books? They haven't done any other sort of singular titles yet?
No, I haven't seen anything, but it all seems like they're putting in all their titles are in each of these books. So you have all.
I have them. I haven't read them yet, but
yeah,
I gotta tell you something. I don't like that.
No, it's confusing.
Because then I don't like segment, like really chopped up reading. Like within each book, there's 3 stories, and then I gotta wait for the next month, and I gotta each smaller story. Like,
I was not ready for that. I mean, we tried to talk to them about trying to have them on the show to let people know more about what's going on, and unfortunately we weren't able to connect. But I would have just selfishly, I would have liked that just so we knew what was coming, we knew what their plan was, because I thought I was just seeing reprints of the original stuff when I saw Artist Elite Presents. So and there's some really cool artists in on this series too. So in this title or company, I should say. But anyways, before we get to Source Point Press, I did want to circle back on Dark Horse because I hate that I didn't have the creators for White Savior issue 1, Eric Nguyen and Scott Berman. Nguyen is is co-writing this with Berman and also the artist on this title. And this one looks pretty interesting. I'm definitely going to give this one a look, and it's a 4-issue mini series, it looks like too. So I'm excited to give this one a look. But anyways, let's go to Source Point Press, Joe. We got Good Boy Prodigal Son issue 3. Of course, Good Boy is a title that I really enjoy. Then we got a couple of first issues. One is Zombicide Day 1 issue 1 by Stefano Vietti, Luca Enoch. Those are the co-writers, and the co-artists are Marco Itri and Alessio Moroni, excuse me, as the co-artists. But then there's a first issue with a familiar name attached to it that I thought you would be interested in.
Yeah, we have Nightwalkers issue 1, written by Cullen Bunn and
Mhm.
Cullen Bunn and Colin Johnson.
Yep.
Serene is an addict in a recovery and in recovery at a rehabilitation center, secluded in the mountains, completely isolated from the outside world. When Seren and the other patients wake to find themselves locked inside and abandoned by the center's staff, they must decide whether to wait or break out. The decision is made for them when a bloodthirsty monster
Hmm.
enters the center and begins to tear through them to satiate its lust for blood. So, yeah, of course, all in on this.
Yeah, I am very interested in this. And I mean, like, we've seen Colin do stuff with a lot of different publishers over the years. I don't know if we've ever seen him do stuff with Source Point Press. Obviously, there's been a lot of different stuff going on in the indie space recently. So I'm excited to see him bring stuff over here and wonder what that's going to do for this publisher in particular. Let's move into the final week of January, the week of the 25th, Joe. What is coming out from Marvel?
So 125-23 from Marvel, baby. We
Hmm.
have The Amazing Spider-Man 18, Thor issue 30, Midnight Suns issue 5, X-Terminators issue 5, Dr. Aphra issue 28, Yoda issue 3, Star Wars The High Republic The Blade issue 2, awesome. Sabretooth and the Exiles issue 3, Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise issue 3, All Out Avengers issue 5, and then we have two number ones. We have Murder World Wolverine issue 1, written by Jim Zub and Ray Fox, with art by Carlos Nieto, and then a number 1 that has piqued your interest, Nicholas.
Oh, it has piqued my interest. That is for damn sure. I wish that we could have asked Kieran Gillen about this at length when we had him on for the Once and Future finale. But I'll tell you what, maybe we can get him on at some point after this is all done, or maybe before, who knows. But Sins of Sinister, issue 1, of course, Kieran Gillen, friend of the show, is the writer on this, and then the artist is Lucas Wernick. I mean, I'll never forget. No, I'll never forget, but well, I don't know. I'll tell you what's really stuck with me about Immortal X-Men is his ability to write the character of Mr. Sinister, specifically when it comes from a narration standpoint. It just fits perfectly. It was like he had the absolute command of this character, almost as if Kieran Gillen was born to write Mr. Sinister. It was so weird to me how much of a fit it was. Just to go through the synopsis real quick. Powers of Essex. It's the end of the world as we know it, and at least Sinister feels fine for now. Can that last? Especially when we discover that he is really his own worst enemy. The universe melting X event begins here in a horror timeline that makes Age of Apocalypse look like the X-Men swimsuit special. I mean, you could say, oh, yeah, sure, they're trying to oversell it and whatever. Kieran Gillen's writing it. I mean,
I mean, I now get why Once in Future came to an end, because he's been writing Marvel events for the past 2 years.
yeah, Axe
No
Judgment
time.
Day in this. Yep,
Yeah.
yeah,
Holy
yeah.
smokes! Oh, that looks
He is a
fantastic.
busy individual, but I am very excited for this one. From DC, we got Detective Comics 1068, Action Comics 1051, Catwoman 51, Harley Quinn 26, The Human Target 11, which I am questioning because Joe, you saw that Human Target 10 is coming out
Hmm.
this month. Tim Drake Robin issue 5, Justice Society of America issue 2, Punchline Gotham Game issue 4, Batman Gotham Knights Gilded City issue 4, Sergeant Rock versus Army of the Dead issue 5, Blue Beetle Graduation Day issue 3. Been seeing a lot of the Blue Beetle covers like floating around on Twitter. I don't know how many people are reading it, but it looks like the covers are pretty kick-ass too. So again, if you're a Blue Beetle fan, excuse me, what the hell? The Sandman Universe Dead Boy Detectives issue 2, of course, Joe's favorite universe. Batman One Bad Day Catwoman issue 1, one of the number ones that are coming out this week from DC. This is written by G. Willow Wilson with art by Jamie McKelvey. And of course, G. Willow Wilson is writing the Poison Ivy series. Awesome stuff there. I haven't given any of these One Bad Day issues a look, Joe. Have you?
No, I haven't. I'm not really interested.
I might go give. Well, Tom Taylor's doing one, and if Tom Taylor's writing anything,
Tom King did one. Yeah,
well, that's okay. I'm trying to stick to the positive. I know, like, we know how you feel. I might give this one a look, like, because G. Willow Wilson, like, after Poison Ivy, I'm interested in more of her work. Then we also got Lazarus Planet. We Once Were Gods, issue 1, and again, multiple writers and artists on that title.
All right, from Image we have Spawn 338, Saga Returns, Saga issue 61, Monstrous issue 42, Junkyard Joe issue 4, Image issue 10, Philadelphia issue 27, gimme, Hitome issue 4, Lovesick issue 4, Hell to Pay issue 1.
Nope, that was wrong.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why would you have it highlighted?
The next issue of Hell to Pay, it comes out on the week of the 25th. There.
Okay.
Boom.
There we go.
You're
Plush
welcome.
issue 3, Flawed issue 5, 20th Century Men issue 6, Undiscovered Country makes a return, right? Issue 23, Voyages issue 3, Antioch issue 3, and then a couple of number ones here. We have Infernal Girl Red issue 1, written by Matt Groom with art by Erica D'Urso.
Yeah.
This is another massive verse book. I believe this was initially a Kickstarter campaign.
Yep.
And is now being picked up by Image. So a new school, new relationship, new possibilities for any teenager. Big moves are both challenging and exciting, but it's a whole other thing for Cassia Costa because an ancient cult and their army of demons has ripped her new home of Apex City out of our universe and cast it into darkness. To have any hope for saving it, Cassia must survive the worst nightmare of her life, embrace a secret legacy, and find the courage to fight when all seems lost in the blazing light of hope in the dark. Infernal Girl Red. So, yeah, more massive verse stuff. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I believe Infernal Girl Red, I know she was included in Supermassive. I believe she was supposed to be thrown into the mix a little bit sooner than we're getting her now. I think just some stuff came up with the creative team where they just ran into issues, off the field issues that they had to address. Life happens and whatnot. So yeah, we don't pretend to know what was going on there, but that's what took a little bit there. And I think this is one of 3 for Infernal Girl Red, so we'll see where it goes. If you like it, you gotta make sure you're picking it up to support the creative team and hopefully get more of Infernal Girl Red in the Massiveverse. Also, Joe, we got the Magic Order Volume 4, Issue 1. Of course, the writer on this is Mark Millar, and the artist on this is Dyke Bruan, and I don't think I need to say more about it's the Magic Order. I loved the first 2 volumes. I'm going to be playing catch up on the 3rd one. Didn't know we were getting a 4th one because I was trade waiting on the 3rd one. Shame on me. It's such an awesome title. It's so good. I binged it. And it's like, I know reading this is just so good. I don't want to wait at all. So haven't checked when the Magic Order Volume 3 is going to come out in trade form, but it's a great title. Flat out, I talked about this on the show a little while back, and it's some awesome stuff. So make sure you guys check that one out. And I gotta say too, Joe, when it comes to I was gonna make another dad joke, but I'm gonna try and stop myself. Skybound, we got Creepshow issue 5, of course, printed through Image. Then from Boom, we got Briar issue 3. Don't read that, Joe. Friendly reminder. Damn Them All issue 4, which is another book that I've called dibs on. Again, Joe, don't read the book yet. Behold Behemoth issue 3.
Excellent.
It's
excellent.
Right. But Once Upon a Time at the End of the World issue 3. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TMNT Volume 2 issue 2. It comes out the week of the 25th too.
All right, so I'm going to rip a couple of these next publishers off as well. So from Dark Horse, we have The Witcher, The Ballad of the Two Wolves, issue 2.
Hell yeah.
Dead Mall, issue 3. And then we have Dragon Age, The Missing, number 1, written by George Mann with art by Kieran McEwen. That is based off a video game, which I love very much. Yep. And then from IDW, we have more Sonic the Hedgehog, issue 57. We have TMNT Saturday Morning Adventures, issue 4. I've been reading this with Swaggins. We absolutely love it. Dead Seas, issue 2. And then, speaking of Ninja Turtles, Nicholas,
Mm-hmm.
We have TMNT, The Last Ronin, The Lost Years, issue 1, written by Kevin Eastman and Tom Waltz, with art by Ben Bishop. Again, notice that Laird's name was left off this. I guess they can't fucking get along, and that's part of the reason why I think the last one took so long. But anyways, we have in the smash hit miniseries TMNT, The Last Ronin, readers witness the final gut-wrenching days of Heroes in a Half Shell. For this turtle, now the fucking spoiler here, Nicholas, gives away who the turtle is in The Last Ronin. So
Well, oh yeah.
I deleted that turtle's name because we're doing this for our readers. So for this turtle in particular, the march to his heartbreaking last battle was long and dangerous, taking him from New York City to Japan, across Asia and Europe, and then back home again to administer final justice against those guilty of killing his family. But what happened during those fateful years when he had only the need for vengeance and Master Splinter's journal to guide him? What battles did he fight? What hard lessons did he learn? The time has come to find out. As the original miniseries writers Kevin Eastman, Tom Waltz, blah, 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 blah. So this should only take 3 years to pump out versus the 6 that the Last Ronin took. But I'm looking forward to this. The Last Ronin, we enjoyed it very much. So this will be fun because not a lot. This really wasn't explored in the Last Ronin. So this I think will be a good little companion piece, and hopefully doesn't take fucking forever to come out.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm very excited for this because we knew this was coming for a while. Yeah, I really hope that it's not this long drawn out process. And also recently picked up a my Last Ronin action figure too. And I'll tell you, and this is I think Ben Bishop was like the creative designer behind the figure. It came
Yeah,
out
and
really
shout out to Goo from Mac and Goo for snagging one of the last 2 statues for me as well. So
yeah,
um,
awesome,
I'll
awesome stuff.
look for
But
me at Idle Hands at the next trivia so I can pick it up.
yep. All right. Well, let's see. All right, I'll take us through these last few, Joe, because there's one more book to highlight. We got Year Zero, Volume Zero, Issue 4 from AWA. Ablaze is going to have Boogeyman, Issue 5, and Traveling to Mars, Issue 3, coming out that week.
So
What?
I've got the first. I think I got the first 2 issues of Boogeyman that I have in my pile. I just haven't read it. I grabbed them on a whim.
Oh,
Right.
cool.
So speaking of like Ablaze, so like I've been seeing some of this. So if I have it, which I think I do, I'll give it a go, and hopefully maybe it's one that we talk about on the show.
Nice. And then from Dynamite to wrap things up, we got Immortal Red Sonja, issue 10, Siren's Gate, issue 3, Vampirella, year 1, issue 5, and then a couple first issues, Green Hornet, One Night in Bangkok, issue 1 by Shannon
That
Denton.
sounds like it should come in like one of those plastic bags where you can't see the cover.
Maybe. And then Jethro Morales is the artist there. But the one I wanted to highlight is Darkwing Duck, issue 1 by Amanda Delbert and Carlo Lauro. Of course, we are getting Gargoyles from Dynamite as well. I actually missed the first issue, so I got to try and snag that one and give it a look. But Darkwing Duck, a character who, I mean, God, I haven't heard about that character in ages. So very excited to give this one a look.
So I put I had no idea that the comic was coming up. No idea. It was last night or the night before. We're going through. So I've been on the final days of swag and school vacation. We watched like the old school Peter Pan, which is racist as fuck.
Jeez.
We watched The Sword and the Stone, which she enjoyed very much
Oh,
as
so
well.
good.
So I'm going through like Disney Plus stuff, and I go, oh shit, it's Darkwing Duck, because she loves DuckTales, both the old one
Oh, yeah.
and the new one. New one's actually very good. And I tell you what, like Darkwing Duck is as good as I remember, but that theme song is so fucking 90s, it fucking hurts.
I gotta go back and check it out.
It's the most 90s like theme song. Like it's not very good. For some reason, like I remember a lot of these shows like theme songs. That one just completely wiped from my memory, and it's not good, Bob. Not great, Bob.
I'll tell you what, I tried rewatching Gargoyles, and it was like that, like it's a kids show, so obviously whatever. But like, it's got some stuff in there that like I was like, okay, I could keep rewatching this, but just between everything we're reading and then trying to watch new
No.
stuff, whether just for my own entertainment and change my mind, it just kind of fell by the wayside. But like that's a cool one for like kids of a certain age. I think you could show them that when you're thinking about '90s cartoons, especially you know, I don't know if it would be Violet Sally necessarily, but Darkwing Duck. I got to go back and check the show out again too. Just to see.
She's a big Launchpad fan, so
Oh yeah,
I thought she'd love Darkwing Duck, and she was a fan.
Launchpad.
But we skip intro on that one for the theme song.
But anyways, so that is going to wrap things up for the January solicit. Again, reminder, go subscribe to our audio channel if you only watch us on streams, or if you're just catching us for the first time, to make sure you get any Friar Side chat that pops up down the line. They're going to get delivered right to your listening device. That's the only way you're going to get those. Joe, until next week, stay sexy.
You know it, baby. This is one of our fastest solicits.